Alright guys, welcome back to Heiko's Garage. Today we're on my desk. As you can see, my watchmaking hobby is slowly taking over. I already have two disassembled watches sitting here on the desk. One is waiting for parts, and this one here, now all the parts have arrived. It's time for us to put my over 30-year-old Casio G-Shock DW6900 back together. Bear with background noise. The dogs are always running around me here, finding a new spot to sleep. Anyways, let's get right into it. I have already done some cleaning. This watch really wasn't broken. It was just out of battery. The battery was dead, and I guess the sand from my last beach vacation in 1994 was still stuck under all those G-Shock protective case pieces here. As you can see, this is like extremely discolored. This used to be a light blue when this watch came out. This has changed colors significantly, but at least it's clean now, or more or less at least, and we're gonna put it back together. So under dust protection here is all the internals. Let's put that over there. I've already cleaned the crystal from the inside a little bit. This here is a lens cleaning microfiber sheet. So what you can use on a camera lens, I think you can use on a crystal. And then I need my camera lens blower ball here, G-Auto. Just silenced my phone because that always goes off when I turn the camera on. So crystal, and then let's slowly get this watch back together. So first, there is like an internal bezel slash plastic piece that has some printing on it, Casio, including water resistant 200 meters, and that goes right here in the middle. And then right on top of that goes a movement holder, which is really just a rubber piece. And then the movement, I don't even know if you call it a movement in a digital watch because there's no moving parts. It's all just a display and electronics, but let's call it a movement. And that goes right on top of that. And then since we have 4 pushers, actually 5 pushers, we got to make sure that we get the movement in here and sit flat and not get hooked onto the pushers. Oh, I completely forgot to tell you guys. Here, let's take it out one more time. Pretty easy. So the reason why I not just replaced the battery on this thing was the dirt, right? Sand and grime and dirt from wearing it for 20 years and then having it sit in a watch case for the last 10 years. Here on the side, you see the end of pushers. And on the end of those pushers are little E-clips. When I was cleaning the inside of this watch case with a regular, not camera related or watch related microfiber sheet or rag, I got hooked onto one of those E-clips. And then in the process of removing the fibers from underneath this E-clip, I took it off. I thought that was a great idea, but then this thing went flying. So then I ended up ordering an assortment kit of 90 little E-clips. Luckily, I found one that resembles the size of the original Casio E-clip, so I was able to replace it off camera. I think it was this one here. So now we have an E-clip on there. The pusher will not fall out. It's all good. Then I finished the cleaning with a camera type style microfiber rag, which are much finer in structure. So, and that's why this watch was sitting here for a couple of weeks until I had those E-clips. So now we can put a movement in there, the non-movement, the non-moving part movement. So here, let me show you real quick. So case, rubber gasket. So the pusher, let's zoom in a little bit for you guys. So the pusher pushes on metal tabs here on the side, and when you push the movement into the case, then this metal tab can get hooked onto the edge of the pusher, and then it doesn't want to go in. So you gotta make sure you get it into your case rather flat and all over all 4 pushers at the same time. So let's try to accomplish this, like kind of pushing it down, wiggling it down. So, and then you can check if the pushers actually actuate the little push tabs there correctly. You can see that from the inside pretty nicely. Yeah, that looks good. So now we have that. Here's a little spring sticking out right there. You don't want to lose that one either. I don't know exactly what the function is, but yeah, we're still not in. So this one little tab hooked onto the end of the pusher and doesn't let the movement slide in all the way. No, I can still see. Let's get a small screwdriver. Okay, now we're in. Pusher, that pusher. Every pusher is pushing. All right, so now let's think. The next step would probably be to take our new battery here. We're putting a Sony battery into a Casio watch. I have some really cheap plastic tweezers just so I'm not causing any short circuit here. Then this has a retainer here that just clicks in once you push it down far enough. I don't know if I can do that with those chintzy, oh yeah, chintzy plastic tweezers. All right, so we have all the pushers in place, we have a battery in place, we have the spring still in place. So now let's put this, let's go professional here. The case holder, or the case cushion. All right, and now this rubber gasket here goes, it's part of their G-Shock shock proofing. That's why the electronic movement is surrounded in rubber. So now I'm gonna use some Molykote 111, that's silicone grease for the little gasket here. We're gonna make a mess. We might have to change my finger cuts afterwards. I'm just putting a little minuscule amount of the stuff in my finger cut, and then I'm just gonna run the gasket right through it. There are better ways of doing this. They sell silicone grease containers that have silicone suspended in a sponge, and then you just put the gasket in there and push down on it, and then you have a small amount of gasket grease on the gasket. You don't want to pull on those too hard. Remember, the gasket is way old. So let's place this here real quick. What I do sometimes is instead of changing finger cuts, I just wipe my finger cuts with rubbing alcohol. It's unbelievable where dog hair comes from here. It's unbelievable. I made sure my workspace is absolutely clean, and then just by living in a house with 2 dogs, you find dog hair everywhere. So that's definitely not helpful when you are watchmaking. If you need to clean the tips of your tweezers, you can also have a piece of Rodico lying around and just stick your tweezers right in there. That works. Alrighty, so gasket greased up. That still needs to go in place. You know, we're just gonna go for it. Alright, here's the case back. Also just wiping it off one last time. little bit of air off camera, and we're going to put it together, just see functionally if it's okay, and then I will order a new gasket for it and replace this at a later time. I'm not going to go swimming or go to the beach with it tomorrow. I always like to tighten up screws in a cross pattern. So here we have 4 screws. My dog is restless. In those plastic housing here, plastic case, you can always first turn the screw a little counterclockwise until you feel a click. That's when it falls into its own old groove. And then you start tightening it up, so you make sure you're not cutting a new thread into old plastic. All right. That feels pretty good. Let's look around. I think the case lays pretty flat, so it looks like the gasket actually went in. So that's that. So then we have to, these 2 pieces here are really only the attachments. Oh no, hold on, Heiko, hold on. Get the rag out one more time. We're gonna clean the crystal. And then we're going to put the watch protector. Oh, here, by the way, this is a pusher too. This does the illumination. So now you kind of have to bend this because you have to get it over the pushers. But what I just noticed is, even though I put a fresh battery in there, the watch is dead. Now that's great. Why would that be? Okay, let's take it off again. Why is this dead as a doornail? So what are we going to do now? Open it up again, huh? Why is this so dead? Anyone? Any ideas? Any suggestions? And I haven't touched anything really while the battery was in there with metal tweezers, which can lead to a short circuit, and then, you know, let's see if we can open this up again. Yeah, it's open. Let's take the battery out. Put that down. Move that over. And now we're going to test the voltage of the battery. I mean, that would be kind of funny. They are brand new. I just ordered those. Alright, get the multimeter on. Or my Casio watch is just rebelling against the Sony battery. That's possible too. So voltage DC, let's do 20 volts. .99, 3 volts. I think that should be good enough. Let's see the old battery. 0.31. Okay. Huh. Alrighty guys, I'm gonna do a little bit of some homework, try to see and find out what the trick is. Maybe there is a trick to this, to revive a Casio DW6900, and I will be back as soon as I find out. Alright guys, I did a little bit of some research, and I potentially found the solution to the problem. So we put the battery back in, clip the battery retainer back down, and then here on the metal backplate there is a little 2 letters. Let's see if we can focus you guys. Under some smudges here there is an AC, which means all clear. And so someone online says if I touch, there's a little golden dot down there next to the AC and the back of the battery at the same time, that it clears everything in the watch. But how do I do that now? Metal tweezers, huh? Okay, I need to touch the golden disc. Let's do that here on the case cushion. So I take my tweezers, hold them open a little bit, put one end on the golden disc and the other one on the back of the battery, and that supposedly brings it back alive. Ooh, yes. Okay, so we're back to success here. We put the rubber protector in its place. We take the gasket that still has a little bit of some silicone on it, silicone grease. Put that back in place. We're going to make sure we have this rubber protector in its proper location, like that. There are all those little bumps and lumps on it, and it only fits in one orientation. And then I wonder. So I can, on the case back here, I can see 2 little rub marks, one there and one right there. And I'm assuming that's going to be, one is the little wound spring and one is this sheet metal spring. Okay, and we're going to wiggle our case back in place so that our gasket slides into its groove. Hold it down. And then sticking the 4 screws back in location. Oops. For someone that usually works on bigger machineries like cars and motorcycles, getting used to using tweezers for everything is still a little bit of a challenge, but it's fun and it requires some patience and, you know, just the troubleshooting part. If something doesn't go as planned, I told you there's another watch here that I actually made worse. I got it and it was in pretty decent shape, and I just wanted to get the case back off to look at the movement. And in the process of that, I literally had to resort to, it was so tight that I couldn't remove it with anything. And of course, it's a case back that has kind of like a, it looks like a hex of a bolt or nut, but it actually has, it's a 10-point shape, and you need to have special wrenches for that. And then the watch is so tiny that I couldn't hold on to it to actually get it loose. So I ended up actually using tools from my garage. And in the process of all that, I damaged the crystal. And now I'm waiting for a new crystal, and then hopefully I can get it back together. Alright, so this looks all flat and no gasket sticking out, so that's good. So now we're gonna use my camera rag one more time. And now we need to get this plastic protector over the pushers. So you start on one side and then work your way around it and just push the pushers in. Let's see if we can go back to autofocus. There you go. And then okay, so now we have the 4 screws that hold this case protector on in place. It still kind of looks, oh, there is paint. I probably painted something in the past. It's not perfect, but at least we get the battery back in. We get the little E-clip back in place. So I put the protection down here, or am I going to put the protection up here? I don't know. So are we going to keep the old spring bars, or are we going to use some new ones? Spring bar tool, time lab, pretty good quality actually. Yep, we got the first one in. Man, they have a lot of tension on them. And I'm assuming they're the originals. I never replaced them. Okay, second one. Sometimes it's really not that easy with finger cords. You know, honestly, they are too rubbery. Sometimes you get stuck on things. I always usually try to get one end into its location, which is already in itself not so easy. Okay, looks like we have both in place now. So far it's all back together. And now we can take this completely discolored wristband. It still says G-Shock on there, protection. I can buy new case protectors. I can buy those. And I can also buy a new wristband, but just not on this color. I can get them in black, or in pink, or in, you know, it's actually surprising for such an old G-Shock model that you can still buy parts. But I think for now I'm just going to leave the old wristband and the old case on there. Gives the watch a nice patina, and also the sprinkles of wall paint that are on here. Oh, they actually come off. There you go. 100% improvement. So a little bit of cleaning, one new E-clip, and a new battery. And we have a working G-Shock. Alright, and there it is on my wrist. I always like the look of this big chunky watch. And this watch must be the most durable watch that I own, because it has taken such a beating over the years in the beach, in the ocean, in climbing, probably wore it a few times flying, helicopter. If you look at this little protector bar that still goes on here, There's no paint left on this thing, but this watch just keeps ticking, or actually doesn't. Let's see if we can shove this back on here. I've noticed that those protectors are not symmetrical. They are shaped differently on one side than on the other, and I have no idea why. And there it is in all its glory. I'm very excited about this. It's actually, besides the sun-faded plastic materials here, the case and everything looked pretty fine, pretty nice. Alrighty guys, thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for coming along for putting this old G-Shock back together. I'm pretty excited. This is probably the oldest watch that I still have in my possession. Part of my journey with watches, and now it's actually running again, so I can wear it and then have people ask me, what's this ugly thing on your arm? And then I will tell them the story. Alrighty guys, you guys hang in there. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Doesn't cost you anything and helps my channel, and I hope I see you in the next one. Take care.